show me colors. Ooh.
Hi, Mandy Wildman here, and this is Hustle and Hem. We are talking about pricing. Pricing are fabulous, refashioned creations. You might think that pricing starts with things like material, figuring out how much your materials cost, how much your time costs, what your overhead is. But you're not a manufacturer. You make things one at a time. Each piece is unique unless you got a million yards of fabric, dead stock fabric from somewhere. Each piece is pretty unique. And typically it's done by hand, with a sewing machine or not. It's done by you. It's a precious creation. So when we talk about pricing, I'm going to do it a little differently to how a big box store might do it. The first step in pricing your upcycled clothing is to understand who you really, really are. You're a designer. We're not manufacturing bajillions of nasty little outfits made with toxic materials. We're not doing that. We are finding materials, and that has to be part of your cost. We're finding our materials and we're creating something completely new for one person only. One person. So sort of I want you to come at it with that mindset, not like, how do I price this? But let's do a bit of that pricing. We'll do the traditional way. Let's do that. Materials. So you might say, well, my materials are thrifted. My friend brought me over a pile of clothing that her grandmother had left in the attic. Ooh, I'd love that to happen. So my materials didn't cost very much, so I shouldn't really include that in the cost. Rubbish. Think again. You went to a thrift store. Oh, come on. You went to a thrift store. We all do it. We're all addicted to thrifting, right? So you went to a thrift store. Where I go, it's about 40 minutes there and 40 minutes back, plus the time in the thrift store, because that's where I have to go. I live out in the country. How many years have you been doing this? How many years have you been passionate about sewing, passionate about color, passionate about style, passionate about shape, passionate about the planet? How many years have you been doing that? How many years of experience do you have doing what you do? And it's not just how long have you been making upcycled clothing. You might have just started. So you can't just say, well, the materials weren't very expensive. Well, you drove there, didn't you? I mean, if you don't pay your car payment, don't you get into trouble? Maintaining the car has to be maintained. There's a lot more that goes into pricing a handmade garment than just hard costs of materials. I really want you to take all of those things into consideration when pricing your garments, okay? So you come at it with a feeling of confidence and ownership of your own creativity. You start there, and then you get into pricing. All right, so we've covered materials, time. How long did it take you to make that garment? Maybe it took 2 hours. Maybe it took 10 hours. If you're making bridal wear, it can take longer than that. How long did it take you to get to where you feel like, ooh, we've got something here, and you're getting that excited feeling? How many years did it take you? How many years did you, going sort of outside the box here, because we're not in a box, right, with what we do. How much of your life have you given to others? What things have you seen? What movies have you seen? What has inspired you? All of that is what creates the uniqueness of you and the way you think and the way you put a piece together, the way you decide, we're going to do red here, we're going to do yellow here, we're going to do orange. Time. It's not just 2 hours. So then you've got overhead. You hear this a lot in the business world, the overhead. So that would be your mortgage, your electric bill, your water bill, the person who mows your yard, if that's anyone but you, your thread, your machine, your sewing machine. Did it break? Do you have savings for a new one? So you've got all of that stuff, all of these things to take into consideration, and you can be nice and neat and tidy and put it in a spreadsheet, or you can just sort of think it through and write some notes. So that's sort of where you begin. Now, maybe in the quote marketplace of upcycled clothing, somebody else is selling their piece for $40. Somebody's selling a similar piece maybe for $80. Another person is selling a similar piece for $120. What's the difference? The difference is their mindset. The difference is how they value themselves and their work. There's really no actual difference. Let's talk about how you ask for that. Okay, so you're at a market, and a lot of people kind of freeze up when they're in front of another human being, and I get that. How do you ask for the price that you've come up with? If, for example, in your pricing, you decided, okay, I'm going to price and I'm going to give myself an hourly wage out of what I come up with. You can do that. Better not be minimum. You might be surprised that you end up earning around about, I don't know, $50 an hour, $80 an hour, $120 an hour. You can bet the big designers make a heck of a lot more than that, right? So when you're at a market and you're in front of somebody and they go, "Oh, I love your stuff. I love your stuff. How much is that? How much is this? What would you charge to make me one of these?" You're not going to say, "Oh, but I could probably do it for cheaper. I could do it for less." Or they ask, how much a coat is or a top or what have you, and you say, "Well, it's $135." You smile and shut up, honestly. That's your moment to breathe. The moment of fear is the moment to breathe, okay? The way you say your price is teaching people how to treat you. And if you say, "Well, I could do it cheaper, I could do it for a bit less." Well, and they start walking away, "Well, what did you want to pay?" "Oh, no, 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 we're not going to be desperate." You're not selling nothing. You're selling your skills, your creativity, and your vision. And you got to own that, okay? Own it. While we're talking about live interaction here, talking to people is a hard one, but it's even worse when they nudge their friend and say, "Don't buy that. I know a lady who sews very cheaply. That's expensive. I can get that cheaper at this big department store over here in the closed down mall." When people say unkind things, or you have to realize that they just don't understand. They don't understand who you are, what you're doing. They're not your target market. Somebody who would say, "Pah," is not your target market. Somebody goes, "Oh, that's awfully expensive." Yeah, because you're used to buying cheap garbage from billionaire companies who don't care about the planet. So we're not going to worry about somebody who says something unkind. They're not your target market. You just breathe. That moment of upset, you're going to breathe through it. You smile and say, "Enjoy the market. Have a great day." They've got some really wonderful muffins over there. They might come back, they might not. But if they do not, they are not your target market. Remember, there's only one person for every garment that you make. There's one person who's going to buy it and wear it. Every single artist that ever lived had to deal with rejection and criticism. It's just proof that you're putting yourself out there. What if something doesn't sell? This garment has not sold. Why has it not sold? I do not know. It's had as much exposure as any other garment. So what am I going to do now? Am I going to hate it? Am I going to say, "Oh, I don't like how I designed that"? I'm going to say, "Oh, it's just rubbish. Nobody likes it." No, I'm going to relook at it. This is kind of fun. You relook at it and you can tweak it. You tweak it a little bit. And I have sold so many things that I went back and tweaked. So you can do that. Now you've got more time in the garment, but it's just going to sell faster. And you sort of have to balance your high sellers, where I sell maybe a coat for $3.95, $4.25, whatever, and you're sort of going to balance it out with the amount of time that you have to sell something for maybe $1.95. It's a balance, just the nature of this kind of business. You could rephotograph it, give it a whole different vibe, use different accessories in your pictures, or accessorize the garment, with a little scarf or what have you. But again, this is about mindset. When you get a fresh viewpoint on something, your customers will see that. They'll feel it instinctively. It's an intuition. It's a feeling that you have that this is really worth buying. My target market, and possibly yours too, is what I call, and I refer to myself this way as well, the forever 40 crowd. She's forever 40. She doesn't get older than that. She's just forever 40. Right, right, right. Here's another really good tip. I'll give you this scrunchie. You can pick any scrunchie out of this box to go with it. They look down at the box, they see all the colors, and all of a sudden, they're not worrying about the money. They're trying to figure out what color scrunchie is going to go with the garment that they want to buy. You up value. You do not discount. I'm saying be smart. about how to make your deals. Here's something that my customers have loved. It's when a piece has a story. People love stories. So people will say, where do you find, oh, what is that embroidery at the back is so darling? I'm like, it was a ruined garment. It was destroyed. But then I matched it up with this orange lace, which was from a dress that had a broken zipper. And so you can tell your customers these stories, and then they can tell their friends when they're wearing it, oh yeah, she found this for this, and then she put this, and this was the dress, and then the underskirt was actually one of those old curtains. So that's it. That is it. Come at me with your questions. I just really want you to feel confident about pricing. See you next time.
Show me
Bye.
colors. Ooh.